The only thing worse than sitting in traffic is all of the wear and tear your engine experiences from the constant stop and go. So do your engine a favor. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics, made from natural gas and designed for complete protection. Pennzoil Synthetics are pure performance.
The journey to the tourney brings us to Louisville for an ACC showdown. Where the 16th-ranked Cardinals face 11th-ranked Virginia. Coverage begins Saturday at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio. This morning on Mike and Mike.
They're all arrogant. They all have egos. That's why they're so dang good.
Nobody changed me. Nobody, made me act this certain type of way, and I'm true to my roots.
People think there's really any sort of misconception about who runs the show there. It's all you need to know right there, and the fact that he's coaching in the All-Star game after his third game, that's special is what that is.
All right, Fitz, is LeBron a coach killer? You mean plural or singular? Because he got Blatt rocked.
It's time for Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Well, Mike Golic Jr., I'm Ian Fitzsimmons, in for Senior and Greeny here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app. Joined in studio till 9 o'clock with our Super Bowl champion, NFL analyst, our good friend Ryan Clark, who has got a very unique perspective on Cam Newton. Charles Barkley says yesterday that he is disliked because Cam Newton is a minority. He's black. You also have Cam addressing that in his negative perception. We'll hear from Cam Newton coming up in just one moment. And you may not believe who is playing halftime of the NBA All-Star game. It's a very – Clark trying to hold it together.
Adam Silver's pick.
Trying to hold it together.
I
don't know if this is going to play to that crowd, but we'll touch on that coming up in a moment. And we'll also hear from LeBron James. A reminder, Ron Rivera, head coach Carolina Panthers, coming up at 8:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Pacific, right here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. All right, before we get to your thoughts for people just tuning in on Cam Newton, in case you missed Cam Newton yesterday, talking about why his perception is what it is and why he is disliked, here's the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers.
I don't think people have seen, what I am or what I'm trying to do, and I said that prior to me being in this situation. But when I said it then, he's immature, he's young, he's this, that, and the third. Like, I felt a certain type of way then. I feel the same type of way now. Nothing's pretty much changed. They talk about maturity with me. They talk about skill set with this team. Nobody has changed. It's been the same Ted Ginn that was drafted, by the Miami Dolphins. You know what I'm saying? The same Jericho Cotchery, the same Philly Brown, the same Cam Newton. Nothing's changed. But the only thing that's changed is that we're winning. And I've said it since day one. I'm an African-American quarterback that may scare a lot of people because they haven't seen nothing that they can compare me to. Oftentimes, and it's funny, I get inspired, make me go out there and practice even harder because I remember when I was, working out for the draft and I would see the Senior Bowl playing and I see these guys out there busting their tails trying to get drafted, try to have a job to provide for their family or themselves. And it's like, here I am. I'm doing exactly what I want to do, how I want to do it. And when I look in the mirror, it's me. You know what I'm saying? Nobody changed me. Nobody, made me act this certain type of way. And I'm true to my roots. And it feels great. But yet, people are going to say whatever they want to say. And if I'm in this world living for that person, this person going to say this person going to say that, then I can't look at myself and say I'm Cam Newton or I'm Cameron Newton to most people, because I'm not, because I'm living for you.
Golic, we'll get your reaction as a former player in 1 second. But Clark, for people just tuning in, we talked about this about an hour ago. You have a very unique perspective on what you just heard or saw.
Listening to it again, certain words stuck out to me, right? He said, nobody made me act a certain way, right? He said, I did it my way. And in the beginning, he talked about his skill set. That's the part I think is wrong. I don't think anybody dislikes his skill set. I think many people are envious of his skill set. But when he talked about the mirror, when he talked about being Cameron Newton, that's the things people don't understand. It's not about racism. They don't look at him and immediately say, no matter what this guy does, because he's black, I have an issue with him. It's the culture that he embodies that doesn't fit people's perception of his position. Our quarterbacks are supposed to act a certain way. They're supposed to have a certain demeanor. And that's the old school fan Monday morning quarterback thought process.
Joe Namath did.
They're not, but he had his detractors. He had to go out and play, and he still does. But if you look at Cam Newton, it's a culture we don't understand at that position. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all of these guys. I had Aaron Rodgers walk up to me on the sideline at a Pro Bowl, and Cam's playing his rookie year. He's throwing a couple of picks, and he tells me, "Oh, you don't want me to get in there." Bruh, I don't care. This is the Pro Bowl. I ain't tripping. And if it was a real game, I'm not scared. But they all have that type of arrogance. They all celebrate. They all do different things. Cam just can do it in a different way. Cam has a flair because it's cultural that other guys don't have. He knows how to dance. I saw Tom Brady run the 40. I'm 100% positive he can't dance.
Well, there's video evidence,
right?
Too.
And at the Super Bowl party, and so when you see,
now why are you assuming just because of his 40 time that he can't dance?
It wasn't the time; it was the way it looked, bro.
There's video of Tom Brady dancing that proves that Tom Brady
right.
Can't
and
dance.
you look at Gronkowski and the way he celebrates. People can understand that. People can relate to that.
I need a full time out on this. Hang on a second. Just hang on 1 minute. Because Russell Wilson, if you're just tuning in, he can't dance. Okay, right? You've seen him dance.
Right.
He can't dance.
That's why they like Russ.
Okay.
Because when Russ scores, he can't dance. He don't know the latest dance moves. So he got to give you the Kobe Bryant or the Michael Jordan. We understand that. We don't understand what Cam is doing. I do. And I like it. Young Jeezy not going to see Russell Wilson play. Right? So it's the cultural difference. We don't understand that type of quarterbacking. We don't understand this type of celebrating from that position. So it has to be wrong. It's not because he's brown. It's because he embraces the hip-hop culture. He embraces where he's from. And that's why he said, I want to be Cameron Newton when I look in the mirror. That's the issue, not when I look at the film. Because when you see the film, you can't deny what's going on. It's who he's looking at in the mirror. That person that he is people's problem, not that color. It's how he behaves. And that's what he said. I don't want to act a different way. And that's the issue.
And I think we talked about this during the break. The difference for so many people is, like you said, it's something that's so culturally different. But for guys that have been around it, for guys that have played, it's something that you see every day. You see all different types in any given, football locker room, a college locker room, an NFL locker room. You see so many different personalities, and you see so many different cultures that this is second nature. You see this and you go, well, I've seen this plenty of times before. But for so many people, this is their introduction to it, especially at the quarterback position. And we said the first guy through the wall is always going to take a little bit of shrapnel on the way through. Cam Newton's the first guy we've seen bring this culture, and like you said, he dances well. He's got the commercials now. No Band-Aids for feelings that I love.
One of the greatest commercials of all time.
That I absolutely love. But he's the first quarterback we're seeing do that in the manner in which he's doing it. But the great thing is that now kids coming up playing the quarterback position can see this. They can see this guy is unapologetically himself playing arguably the most important position on any given football team. He's the face of that franchise. Now I can do that too. And slowly, hopefully, that becomes the norm to where this conversation gets eliminated.
Well, I mean, think about it, guys. Just from the position as a whole, we've now gotten more African-American quarterbacks. But there had to be people to break through. There had to be the Randall Cunninghams and the Warren Moon, who was a more traditional type of quarterback. And so the same way they had to break through athletically, they will also have to break through culturally and personality-wise. And Cam is the first step toward that.
Bottom line to me, though, when you talk about whether you like him, dislike him, he is, as we talked about earlier in the program for people just tuning in, he is that guy. If he's on your team, you love him as a fan. And look, I've stood on those as a sideline as a field analyst for ESPN Radio and watched his Panthers bunch up close. And his teammates follow him. They love him. Ask Greg Olsen about Cam Newton, and you're going to get an hour-long, just memorandum as to what makes him so good. Fans, man, when they absolutely just beat the snot out of the Atlanta Falcons, who got their revenge and handed them their only loss, but that 38-0 beatdown. It's 3 minutes to go in the game, and Cam's going, let's take a photo, team photo. Whoa, what? And then that's his teammates right there with him. Then he's running from end zone to end zone and then back, pointing to the crowd, and it's a wave of just euphoria following him as he runs down and from end zone to end zone, 100 yards in front of his teammates, and they're all praising him as he runs by also. The fans love him. His teammates love him. You may not like him, but guess what? That does not matter to anybody in Carolina or that fan base or in that locker room or that organization. Bottom line.
Well, he said the difference is now that we're winning. And if you look at his process.
And with flair.
If you look at his process, when he talked about the draft and preparing for the draft, it's been comment after comment, situation after situation of why Cam Newton is defective in some way. There were articles written that his smile is a certain way. And just different coming out of the draft. And then it was.
I wish I had that smile.
And then it was you wear the towel over your head. And so now he's had to change certain things, which he felt were being distractions of the way that he leads his team. But the youthful exuberance he plays the game with, isn't that what we want? Don't we want passionate players? Don't we want people in a time where we have concussion movies and in a time that the game is seemingly under attack every day in some type of way, trying to take it out of Little League, not letting people play to a certain time? Don't we want to see a person play this game at a high level who enjoys it, who loves it, who makes it fun for everyone? When hundreds of kids rush down to the railing, hopefully they don't flip over like dude.
There were some
did
balls being
on
thrown in
right.
the championship.
But when they run down because you've gotten within the red zone, that's exciting for everyone that comes to that stadium. Every kid that walks in that stadium at some point has a dream of maybe Cam Newton or one of his teammates gives me a football. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on the fact that they're 15-1, that he's going to be the MVP. Let's focus on that and not the things that we don't understand. If you rather guys cuss and scream and headbutt, then go support those guys. But let's not find everything negative about this person who this year has not only been the face of his team, he's become the face of a league.
And I think you get that a lot with people, though. They want players to win and lose a certain way. You know, they get mad if guys don't show enough, fire and emotion when their team's on the losing end of a game. They want them to win and be humble and do all these things. Not everyone's going to do things the way you want them to do. And when you see something different, that shouldn't be grounds for you to automatically go, well, I don't like this. It's different. It's not what I'm used to seeing. Understand and apply the same set of rules to all the people you're going to judge in that regard. Then we talked about the comparison to Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers so much. If you're going to hate Cam for being loud and being in your face, then hate those guys for that too.
Look, man, all I know is that dude's good. That dude wins.
I'd take him.
You
think
he can play on my team?
If they're
he
like,
forced
hey,
you into
RC,
retirement.
You could force all the way. I knew it was coming. I just started hanging on after that. I was just glad we never had to play him in a real game. Nobody got time for that.
If we just had that drop right now, it'd be even better. With Ryan Clark, Mike Golic Jr., I'm Ian Fitzsimmons, in for Senior and Greeny here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and the ESPN app. Another polarizing athlete, LeBron James, reacted to pretty much everybody coast to coast saying he's a coach killer. He got David Blatt fired. If you missed it, here's LeBron James reacting to everyone calling him a coach killer.
I've never, in my time since I've picked up a basketball, ever undermined a coach, ever disrespected a coach. You ask any of my little league coaches, my high school coaches I played for in tournaments or camps, my NBA coaches have always respected what they wanted to do. And I'm not the owner of a team. I'm not the GM of a team. I'm a player of a team. And people get it so misconstrued because I'm a smart basketball player and I like to voice my opinion about certain things, which I did when I was here, my first stint with Paul Silas, with Mike Brown, which I did in Miami with Coach Spo. I did with Blatt, and I do with T. Lue, and at the end of the day, they still have their final call. But I don't know. I mean, what you guys want me to turn my brain off because I have a huge basketball IQ? Mm-hmm. That's what they want me to do. I'm not going to do it because I got so much to give to the game.
Now, Golic, that last part right there, every time you've heard it, if you're watching on ESPN2, listening on ESPN Radio, that last part is like fingernails on a chalkboard for you.
Man, listen, I understand this guy is one of the greatest basketball players we'll ever see, and you hear everyone to a man. You hear Shaq and all these guys that have been around him and played with him talk about that this guy really is like a basketball savant. He sees the game. It's such a unique way for a player, and I understand it's the truth. But, man, let other people tell you that. Maybe that's just a personal thing like me, but I always say, when you're great, you don't have to talk about how great you are at certain things. Everyone else will tell you about that, and I'm ready and willing to tell you how great LeBron is. But, man, when you have to start hearing about, listen, my basketball brain is just so great, I can't turn this thing off sometimes, guys. It's just,
Clark, you're smirking over there.
Well, football players, right, we have a different perspective than other sports because it's tough for a football player, other than quarterbacks, sometimes to be as important as great basketball players. They play both ways, right? There's only 5 of them on the court at one time, and they make gigantic amounts of money.
Guaranteed money.
Right. So it's not the same thing. And eventually, all basketball players, like all great ones, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James now, they get to the point where they really stop caring about what people think. Where they get on the mic and when they lose to Golden State in the game, they say, well, why? When they ask him, why do you think you can win? Best basketball player on the planet. Like they get there. They get tired. When you got 82 games and you got to answer questions for those games and you play in the playoffs, they get tired. And I'm not saying that the comment is okay, but what I'm saying is it's nothing new. Like you're used to hearing basketball players speak this way because unlike football, there's no helmet. You see these guys, they become a brand. And LeBron is more important than any basketball coach he will play for unless Phil Jackson comes out of retirement or Red Auerbach comes back. That's it. Because the way that game is, it's a player's game. You can coach it, you can draw it up, but you're just managing people. LeBron James is more important. And no, he's not going to turn off his
high basketball IQ.
Basketball IQ.
That line to me, I mean, that's just gold.
Can we just pull that just short bite just to crack these two guys up for the next hour and a half? Just that high basketball IQ. Jeff Van
Gundy. High TV IQ, guys. And I'm not going to shut it off for you.
You got that
I wish I
IQ
had a high
going.
any IQ I could shut off.
Took me 6.5 years to get out of undergrad, man. Are you kidding me?
At least you enjoyed it, bro.
Did I ever? Being a bookie and a bartender is a bad way to go through college, man. I can promise you that. Jeff Van Gundy on LeBron James. Actions speak louder than words. Here's a coach.
I've learned to not judge people more by what they say, but much more by what they do. I think unless you're around somebody every single day and you either play with them or coach them, you really don't know who they are or what they stand for. So many players today are so good with how they present themselves through the media that as a fan, I think you have to realize you don't know them, nor will you ever know them. You don't know someone until you coach them. You don't know someone at all as a fan, and I won't be here judging LeBron James's words. The only thing you can go by are his actions.
I completely agree with Coach on that, and let's just put it out there. Look, there's no way that the Cleveland Cavaliers are moving on from David Blatt if LeBron James wasn't consulted. You're not going to make a move without your best player and one of the greatest to ever play the game being consulted. Heck, who informed Tyronn Lue that he's coaching in the All-Star game? It wasn't the commissioner. It wasn't the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It wasn't the general manager. It was LeBron James. So that's the bottom line, man. You think Michael Jordan wasn't being consulted about who was going to be the next head coach after Doug Collins got run? Or Kobe was being consulted about who's coaching the Lakers? I mean, come on. When he's in his prime?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works, though. And that's how it's supposed to work in basketball. At least that's just how I feel. And maybe not supposed to work as it's the best way to do it, but it's the way it's always been done. And that's just the way things go. You know, if Golic, coming into the league, you had to carry pads, not because they felt a certain way about you, because it's the way things were always done. And that's how basketball works.
Yep, like Ryan said before, he is the most important piece, not only of that team player wise, but of that franchise. He's the difference. You take him away, and you saw what changes in that franchise and in that city. So he's going to make his opinions on this matter felt. He's going to voice them, even if he's not asked directly. I mean, we're not inside there. We don't know if it was a real, A-B conversation, but we know he's making his feelings felt, whether it's in public, whether it's in private.
And he's earned that.
And he's absolutely earned that right, because he's a champion in this league. He's one of the greatest players that we'll ever see. And like Ryan said, he's been around long enough. And, I can certainly laugh at his line when he talks about his basketball brain, but the guy's an incredibly smart basketball player.
Right.
If he wants to tell me he's the greatest basketball player, I can't argue that, because I think he is.
You got to listen.
You have to listen to what he says.
Check out the big brain on Bron.
And listen, I'm still going to laugh at that comment because it is inherently funny. But that's the way business is handled there. So to call him a coach, the thing that Coach said that I really. That Vanguardi said that I really agreed was that you don't know these guys as fans, and we don't know these guys sitting up here. And I always reserve judgment on a guy until I talk to someone, to talk to that person in person, to talk to someone that's been in that locker room, been a teammate of that guy, because you really don't know. As much as you think you do, what's presented to you is not always the truth that lies behind it more often than not. So just remember that you can't judge wholly and completely off what you're seeing from the outside.
Now, we mentioned LeBron was the one to inform Tyronn Lue in their locker room that he was coaching in the All-Star game, performing at halftime of the All-Star game. Ladies and gentlemen, Sting. It's not on my array anymore. Not on my array anymore, guys. So
you know what?
There you go. Thank you, Bubba. This guy right here. NBA All-Star game. Now, I'm a huge Sting fan.
First of all,
does
right?
It fit?
So here's your first issue. The All-Star game has been in New Orleans a few times. There ain't a lot of white people there, bro. Straight up. I don't really know I don't really know other ways to cut it or to say it nicely. Hopefully I don't get a call. There ain't a lot of y'all there. I've been there. I've drove through.
These are all police, too.
And then they're young. They don't
Sting.
even know who Sting is. I also have an issue with this. So the young people there, they don't know who Sting is. Nobody has a problem. The fact, that stage is you can sing, you can do whatever you want. He's saying the stalker anthem of a lifetime. He's telling this woman, no matter what you feel, you belong to me. And I'm going to watch you.
Every step
By
you
the
take.
way, if you keep your score, the game's in Toronto, not New Orleans, but still, to your point,
we can't get Drake. First of all, Drake.
Did you call this the greatest stalker anthem of all?
The greatest stalker anthem of all time.
No
matter where you go, girl.
Every breath you take.
Who you with? I am watching you. Like, imagine you on the phone with a girl and she trying to break up with you. That's why you can only do it if you can sing. Say, girl, you may think you not mine, but you belong to me.
Every breath you take.
That's not endearing.
No, that
don't make me comfortable.
That doesn't work, but you throw the beat in the background and you say,
and you sing it.
Every step you make.
Man.
You'll be and
they
watching
sing it.
You.
They sing it at the concerts. But you come on now. Drake gonna be, first of all, he's gonna be there. Right? He's going to be there. And he's been a fan. He has a jersey of each of these guys. Drake has been a fan of all these teams.
Man, what a time.
You know how he does.
We'll be live from San Francisco starting Wednesday at Team Up from Fort Mason Center. Doors open at 2 a.m., man. 2 a.m. Come on. We're going to have some very special shows counting down to the Golden Game. Ron Rivera, head coach, Carolina. We'll see if he's a Sting fan. He joins us following this from Bosch.
Weather is unpredictable this time of year. Heavy rain, sleet, snow, or hail can strike without warning and compromise your visibility on the road. Be prepared with extreme weather hits. Bosch wiper blades are built to handle the most extreme weather conditions. Bosch created the new Icon with ClearMax 365. It's rubber technology that protects the blade for long-lasting performance not found in any other wiper blade. Get the exclusive Bosch wipers beam technology for superior all-weather performance because, like you, Bosch cares about what's ahead. Visit Bosch88feet.com. We'll be right back with more Sting, Mike and Mike.
I have a huge basketball IQ.
Mm-hmm.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
With Mike Golic Jr., I'm Ian Fitzsimmons, in for Senior and Greeny here on Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio, ESPN2. Golden State takes down the Dallas Mavericks 127-107. That's their 40th straight home win, tied for the second longest streak in NBA history. Spurs also win at home. They take down the Rockets 130-99. They're the fifth team in NBA history to start a season 25-0 at home. And in case you're just tuning in or waking up, Novak Djokovic defeats Roger Federer in 4 states. He advances to the Australian Open, the final for the 6th time in his career. SportsCenter is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club.
Leave the playoff beard to the pros and me and Ian. Kick off your year with a fresh blade shave from DollarShaveClub.com. They make getting an amazing shave simple. Use a fresh DSC blade with their Dr. Carver shave butter, and that's it. If you want the most gentle shave imaginable, join DollarShaveClub.com today.
Mike and Mike is presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you. The Super Bowl champion, NFL analyst Ryan Clark, Mike Golic Jr., I'm Ian Fitzsimmons. Joining us now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, the head coach of the Super Bowl-bound Carolina Panthers, Ron Rivera, returns here to Mike and Mike. And, Coach, first of all, last time I saw you, I was getting stitched up in your training room. So it's always good to catch up with you again, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, Ian. How's that? Was the finger, right? You're one of your fingers?
Yep. You guys tell the Dr. Anderson and Dr. Connor I greatly appreciate them stitching my finger back together as I had a compound fracture before the Falcons-Panthers game. True story. Bruce Polian.
You know what's interesting about it was that I was trying to find the doctors, and they said, "Yeah, they're stitching somebody up." And my first panic was it was a player, and then I found it was just a reporter.
It's a true story. He comes walking into the training room, right, and they're stitching me up down there. I mean, I bone through skin, the whole works. And Rivera looks at me and goes, "Ian, what are you doing an hour and a half before kickoff in my training room?" And they lifted up my hand. He goes, "Okay, got it."
What were you doing?
Yeah, how did this happen?
We'll get to that story later on. We'll get into it. But, Coach, I feel like I inspired your team with my toughness. So,
without a doubt, anytime you can see a guy play through pain or work through pain, that's an inspiration.
And I'm so happy that I was able to help inspire your ball club. First of all, congratulations. And you guys have been on an unbelievable tear. When, at this point during the year, Coach, did you realize that you might be around a special group of guys?
You know, it's interesting. I've been asked that question, and I've been trying to reflect and figure it out. And really, there really was no real sense of that. And you know what? These guys are pretty special, I think, until the Dallas game on Thanksgiving Day, you know, when we had gone through all the stuff that we had gone through, and we got to that point, and we were an underdog, a 10-0 team being an underdog. And I just saw the mad on the guys had for that. I thought that was something else that told me, you know what, these guys can turn it on when they want to. And they turned it on pretty doggone well. And we've talked about it. We've been trying to tap into that ever since.
Coach, you've got a quarterback in Cam Newton who's turned it on in a big way this season for you guys. Made some comments yesterday just talking about what a polarizing figure he's been all year. But talk about what he's meant to your team in that locker room this year.
Well, you know what's interesting? Is this Mike?
Yes.
Man, you sound just like your dad. Holy smokes.
Gotten that once or twice, Coach.
I had to think for a second there. But, you know, Mike, what's interesting is he is polarizing, and for whatever reason, I'm not quite sure. But the truth of the matter is he's a heck of a football player, a very good quarterback, and a real good person. And that's something I'm very proud of as to who he is as a young man. But as far as our locker room is concerned, he is one of our leaders. He really has been. He's been a tremendous team captain. He's put himself out there for his teammates. He plays with a tremendous amount of energy and confidence, and he exudes all those qualities that you look for in a leader. And the players are inspired by him, and they follow him. And that's one of the things that I think, you know, really has really truly helped us. And one of the all-time great shots, as far as I'm concerned, is the shot of him right after the Giants tie the game up. He gives that look of confidence, goes down, puts us in field goal position, and we kick the field goal to win. That's what you look for as a head coach. You look for somebody that has that kind of confidence, that kind of, you know, just, you know what, we can get it done, that swagger, and he shows that.
Coach, I know this is Ryan Clark here. It's a journey. Being an NFL coach, the seat heats up really quick, and for you to get your team to this point, it took for you to be steady. Even though we call you Riverboat Ron, we never saw you waver at any point. What were you telling your team after that loss to Atlanta that got them to this point and has them playing so well entering this Super Bowl?
Well, you know, Ryan, and I know you know this from your experiences, that really you should play with your personality as to who you are. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned this year. You know, we go to Atlanta after the New York game, and we did not play with that same bravado, the same swagger, the same character and personality that we had. And it took Bené Benwickery, one of our corners that's on injured reserve, who was at home watching the game to say it. He did an interview after we had lost. It was our first loss of the year. And he just came out flat out said that was not the same team. They didn't have their swagger. So I read the article, and I called Ben and I said, man, you hit the nail right on the head. So the following Wednesday, when I had the team meeting before we were getting ready for our game planning, I said to the guys, I said, it's as much my mistake as anything, guys. I did not preach personality, did not preach energy that we had been doing all year. So that's one of the things that I've kind of figured out about this group of young men is that to them it's really about their personality, their energy level more so than it's anything else, because these guys really they do the things that they're supposed to do, and when they do them to their ability, they can be a pretty good football team.
And, Coach, with that personality being such a big factor, we had Coach Billick on before earlier talking about how important is setting up your structure and having a plan for these couple of weeks leading up to the football. And Ryan talked before about how much fun his Steelers group had leading up to that Super Bowl. For this team with their personality, how do you as a coach build a structure over the course of these 2 weeks and still let them have that fun and be that personable group that we've seen?
Well, one thing is, for us, the emphasis this week really is about game planning and installation, making sure we put everything we're going to use or we need in this week. That way, when we get to next week, there's not that pressure and that stress that you got to, you have to, you must. There's that relaxation that, okay, let's refine it. Let's work on our base fundamentals. Let's work on our techniques, as opposed to, we got to plan, we got to install. No, that stress is going to be finished by the time we get to Santa Clara. Our focus is going to be on improving us, making sure we're ready to play.
Coach, for a lot of people who haven't played this game, it's all about the destination, whether or not this team with only one loss wins the Super Bowl. How are you keeping that in focus for your team, understanding that, yes, we had a great regular season. Our playoff run has been magical so far, but it's about finishing the deal.
Ryan, I think that's a great comment, because the biggest thing a lot of people forget is a lot of guys sometimes get caught up in just getting there.
Right.
And one of the things that we got to make sure we focus on is it's not about getting there. As you just said, it is about the journey. It most certainly is about the journey. But the truth of the matter, at the end of the day, the journey gets you to the destination. Mm-hmm. You've got to be ready to complete the destination, finish the trip. And that's the thing that we have to emphasize and talk to our players about, is making sure we stay focused on what the destination truly is. Not just getting there, but going there, playing, and winning.
With one of your, Ron Rivera, head coach, Carolina Panthers, here with us on the here on Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. One of your players, obviously, one of your captains, is Thomas Davis. He's got that broken arm. He had the plate put in there. We all know what he's been through, all the ACLs and what he means to this team. How is he and other guys health-wise with this game now about a week and a half away?
For the most part, he really is our only concern. Everybody else this week is well, if they're a veteran guy with a bump or a sprain or something, we're going to slow them down a little bit. They'll be in installations and all that stuff. They won't actually get out on the practice field until later in each day. So I expect a couple more guys that were on the injury list yesterday to practice today, and then hopefully we'll get everybody but Thomas on the field on Friday, with the exception also of Jonathan Stewart. But for the most part, TD's doing great. It's interesting because every day since he's had the surgery, you could see him a little bit more lively. Today, we just finished team meeting, and he was walking through the locker room, and one of the wide receivers, Philly Brown, made a wise crack to him, and without even flinching, he took that arm and he chucked him a little bit with it, and everybody just kind of stopped and looked at TD and goes, "What?" He said, "I told you I'm going to be ready."
Hey, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That dude's tough as nails.
That's a beautiful thing. And, Coach, before we get ready to let you go, I know you talked the game planning is so much heavy this week. What have you seen on film from this Denver Broncos defense specifically that had such a dominating performance against New England that you're really looking for going into the Super Bowl matchup?
Well, it's interesting just looking at their style of play. With Coach Phillips, who I got a tremendous amount of respect for, you see certain things. You see certain elements of a 3-4 front. You see the 4-2 stuff that he does as well. But he has some dynamic playmakers on that football team. And the thing that we've got to be able to do is make sure we can handle what they do. We know who their playmakers are. We do the best we can to match up against their playmakers. But the bottom line is you still have to be able to defend what Coach Phillips wants to do.
You faced Peyton Manning before as a defensive coordinator in a Super Bowl when you were with the Chicago Bears. That guy you faced then compared to the guy you're watching on film right now, what do you see?
Well, I see him using different weapons the way he uses them. When he was in Indianapolis, obviously it was a 100% the offensive system that he's used to, that he's been in, that he basically grew up in. This is a little bit of the offensive system is a little bit different, obviously, with Coach Kubiak. But again, you still see the same guy making decisions. He makes quick decisions. He delivers a good ball, catchable football. Very confident. You still see him orchestrating and controlling things at the line of scrimmage. We've got to be really good with the things that we do. Again, we've got to be able to make sure we get to where we're supposed to be. We've got to make sure we were able to get him off of his mark and when he drops into the pocket. And then we got to be able to make plays when we get those opportunities.
And for people just tuning in, Cam Newton yesterday had a really phenomenal answer as to why he is perceived the way he is perceived. When you see your quarterback and you hear what he said yesterday about why he does what he does, what was your reaction when you heard his comments?
Oh, I got no issue with it, because to me, that's the truth of the matter. There's no reason to change who you are. I mean, people like you or dislike you for who you are to them, and that's the one thing. And I think if anybody really took the time to get to know who he is, see the things that he's done, I find it hard for people to not like him. I mean, this is a young man that not just is a quality football player, but he's a solid person. He's a solid citizen. When you see him interact with young people and be the role model for young people, especially in today's world. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, yeah, maybe you had to act a certain way, but in today's world, with all the social media that's out there, to be as flamboyant as he is, and that might be a strong word, but as flamboyant as he is, that's what the young people look up to today. They look up to the guys that have charisma, have some leadership to them, have a certain quality that I think is important. These young people will follow him, and that's what I wish people would understand. I mean, I thought Sports Illustrated wrote a great article on him about a month ago talking about who he is, and I think I really do mean this, because I had to study the guy. When I came out as the head coach, doing the things that we had to do in terms of preparation, I spent a lot of quality time with the young man, got to spend time with his family, went down and spent a whole day with him. And when you see who he is and you see the dynamics of that and the love in that home that they have, it's hard for me to believe that people just don't understand, who he is and why he is the way he is.
Coach, congrats on getting there. One more to go. We always appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And I don't think I deserve a ring for the inspiration that I gave you guys. So I'm good. I'm good, Coach.
I appreciate you, Ian. Thanks very much. And Mike, Ryan, good to talk to you guys.
Thanks, talking to you, Coach. Good luck. Ron Rivera, head coach, Carolina Panthers, on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Do your engine a favor. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics, made from natural gas and designed for complete protection. Pennzoil Synthetics are pure performance. We'll react to that conversation and bring in another former NFL corner. Domonique Foxworth joins us coming up next, right here on Mike and Mike.
Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com.
With Ryan Clark, Mike Golic Jr., I'm Ian Fitzsimmons in for Greeny and Senior. Domonique Foxworth joins us in the studio coming up in a moment. Sports Center brought to you by 1-800-Flowers.com.
Wow her with 1-800-Flowers, your rose authority for birthdays, anniversaries, and Valentine's Day. Our listeners can get great deals on roses she'll love starting at just $29.99. Order today or lock in early for Valentine's. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the microphone, and enter Mike.
Domonique, good to see you, man. How are you?
Great. Happy to be here. Happy to complete this Oreo. I like it. And I know it's definitely
might be triple stuff.
It certainly is double stuff.
It's
Oreo.
Double stuff with Golic Jr. and I right in the middle of you and Ryan Clark. There is no doubt about it. There's some girth here in the middle. No doubt, man. Well, you've been hearing about the Cam Newton discussion and what he said about his perception and why he's disliked. Your reaction to?
I loved it. I mean, I got goosebumps, frankly, when I heard it. I just wanted to call Cam up and say, I see you, and hang up. That's it. 'Cause, I mean, it speaks to me of, like, progress. And I know a lot of people don't like when you bring social issues into sports, but it is. Like, our society it infuses everything, and race is a huge issue. And to me, it's about double consciousness. It's about what W.E.B. Du Bois said about kind of needing to be multiple people. And for Cam, he doesn't have to. And this is kind of a first generation where you're starting to get to the point where he can be himself all the time, and you don't have to, like, when I was growing up and someone would call a house, my mom would put on her white voice to answer the phone.
No question.
Wait, what?
No doubt about it.
Every black person watching this knows about the white voice.
100%.
Hold on a minute.
When I was going to interviews, I would put on, like, I'll do all that, and then when I go see my guys, it's different. It's like broken English, it's slang, it's whatever. You're comfortable with that. And when my mom's talking to me, it's like that. But when people called the house back in the 90s, back when we had house phones, her voice would change. And
That's 100% true.
Who's that? But the cool thing about Cam is he's not doing that anymore. And I love it. I mean, it makes me, like I said, it gave me goosebumps. And I know listening to those things may not be, other people may not get that same feeling.
Fitz,
but
before you go,
you know exactly where I'm going with it.
Hold on, Fitz. Let the outside control the outside of the Oreo. Let the cookie control it. The hard outer crust that protects the creamy center wants to talk right now.
Which is what holds it together.
We hold it. Why do Ryan and I have to wear coats and you don't? This is
Hey,
awesome.
That was a choice.
How is it a progression?
I
we
want
have to
to
wear
take take it over the show, Fitz. It's over.
But how about this?
We're changing the music, coming in and out of
It won't be
segments.
Sting.
It certainly will not be that stalker. It will not be that stalker. We are going to have some hip hop.
During the commercial,
Get him, Ryan. Whoa, no one gave you permission there, Creamy. Hold on, Ryan. What you got to say, bro?
You remember? And he said, he was like, he thought I was mocking him. Is he not smart, though? Like, how sharp was that? Like, he gave us comedy. He gave us slang. He gave us quotes. He went history.
You're right. Yeah.
Hey, man, that's why he was depressed. Straight up.
I take it back. You're right, Ron.
And everybody knows, too. Like, you doing your homework. You doing your homework. Mama getting at you. Hey, man, you need to do. And the phone rang. Hi, hello.
Yeah, there it is. Everybody knows. I guarantee.
I don't know who called
Fitz, why are you so surprised?
It wasn't no call ID.
After the next break, check the Twitter, and all the black people are going to tell you, yeah, I know about my mama white voice. Like, that's a thing that happens.
I'm just waiting until Creamy's allowed to speak again.
I'm sorry, Creamy. Get back in there, Creamy Center. What you got to say?
I know. I think Creamy's the nicest thing
That's
anyone's
a good
ever
nickname.
called me.
I like that nickname.
regard.
We might need to make that stick because you can't be two Mike Golics.
No.
You got to find your own thing.
Junior.
I don't like Junior.
Creamy Junior?
No. I don't like Junior.
Well, Greeny's on usually, so it's not that black on here.
Yeah, it's not
often.
It is.
I mean, you had that. You had the
so
two,
black today.
You had
too black.
You had the other day. You had my dad and Greeny, maybe the two least qualified people in the world, trying to define swag for the nation.
Oh, I listened to that segment and I was one, grossed out by them talking about it, but two, like I do think it's ridiculous. Like a lot of these intangibles, like Ron Rivera just came on, he was fabulous, but then he started talking about like these. I'm unique in sports in that I don't really buy into a lot of that magic hocus pocus stuff.
I'm going to try and contain again. Clark, I know
don't try to contain us.
Coach Love is back to transform a nation of hopeless men into hopeless romantics. And Sport Clips Haircuts has just the game plan for you, with a chance to win cool prizes, too. See the rules and enter at sportclips.com/Coach Love. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. 18 or older. Ends 2/5/16. Void where prohibited.
Hey, basketball fans, I'm George Sedano, and on the latest NBA Lockdown podcast, Tom Haberstroh and I discuss LeBron's comments about being a coach killer, plus Kevin Pelton stops by, and we all do our All-Star reserves. Find the podcast and subscribe in the Listen tab of the ESPN app.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantore, and here's something everyone should know. If you're driving and you can't see clearly for 1 second at 60 miles per hour, you can't see clearly for 88 feet. And a lot can happen in 88 feet. That's why Bosch created the Icon with ClearMax 365. It's a rubber technology for longer-lasting performance, not found on any other wiper blade. Because like you, Bosch cares about what's ahead.
The journey to the tourney brings us to Louisville for an ACC showdown. With the 16th-ranked Cardinals face 11th-ranked Virginia. Coverage begins Saturday at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio.